You. What up, what up, what up, what up? What's popping? What's good, what's good, what's good? We are here with RKT Appraisals in the building.
All right.
What's going on, guys? How's everything going? What's
Chilling,
good?
man, chilling.
What's good? So today we talking about, how to plan for the market crash. Is the market really gonna crash? We gotta do shit. Like what happened? What's going on?
Is monkeypox and COVID gonna get us and it's gonna fuck everything up?
Yeah, so Rashidi, tell us what's going on. Kaylin, tell us what's going on. Because we need to know all the information. So what's popping off out here?
Yeah, go okay.
All right. Good. Yeah. So for one, a recession is happening. A recession's been happening for a while now, since the 1st of July, since the summer started. A recession's been happening, right? So we got to realize that a lot's been going on, and we got to prepare for this market crash, right? And there's a few things that we can do to put ourselves in a better position. Because the truth is, you can't stop the crash from happening. But what you can do is put yourself in better positions for when it does happen. You're a little more well off versus not preparing at all, and letting you going downhill from that point.
Right.
So what does it mean for the market to crash? What does that mean for the average nigga working at McDonald's and all that other shit? Like, what does that mean?
Well, I mean, the thing is, people don't get affected right away, right? Everyone's going to feel the effect, right? But remember, everything is in the market.
Right.
People don't realize everything is part of the market. So in some way, shape, form, or fashion, whether you work corporate or you work flipping fries, you're still going to be affected by it, regardless of how you look at it, right? But some people may not feel the direct effect right away. Some it may take months before you can feel that effect. It may take even a year before you be like, oh wow, this really hit. How could I say it? I would say that somebody who's like the average Joe, what's going to happen when the market tanks? Things are going to go up. So like you might go to your grocery store and your $4 gallon of milk is now $6.50, $7.
Wow.
The gas, instead of it being $4, it may go up to $6.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? So you will be affected by it, no matter where you at in this country, in the world. Really, it's gonna affect you in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
Right.
But there are ways that we can help individuals as far as like putting them in a better position to when it does happen. Like I said, they're a little better off versus now.
Right.
That's crazy. And so what can people do to plan for this to happen? You know what I'm saying? Or plan for when it does happen. What should people be doing at this point?
Yeah, man. I mean, I would definitely say just be mindful on how you're spending and what you're spending money on. That's the first thing. Just checking out your budget. Just trying to save where you can, trying to catch the sales where you can with buying groceries, and just buying the things you need versus buying the things you want. The main thing is just really paying attention to everything. Just shopping. If you're shopping at grocery stores, know the difference between shopping at a BJ's and shopping at a supermarket versus your local grocery store and your local corner store.
Right.
All those things are huge because the corner store, the price is jacked up. Your local grocery store price is probably jacked up, but mostly, your local grocery store, the fruit might be cheaper, or the international food or the ethnic food might be cheaper, but everything else costs a lot more money. So just be mindful of where you're spending money at and how you're spending money. That's a huge thing when it comes to that.
That's crazy. And so for people who are, let's say, business people, who's starting business or who's trying to, be an entrepreneur, what's the issue though? Because should they expect like their shit's just gonna be terrible at this point for the next year or two? They're not gonna get as many customers. What are they gonna have to lower prices, do sales? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big point, Mr. Lacari. I mean, as far as entrepreneur stuff like that, is that you have to pay attention to what's going around you. So if you're selling something for $70 a pop, you need to be in tune to what's going on with your product. So if John is selling that product for 85 and you selling it for 70 and somebody else selling it for 50, you might have to sell your product for around 55 to kind of be somewhere in that range. So you got to be mindful and aware of what's going on in the market with your particular product, whatever you're selling, whatever you're doing. Because if you do that, now you can know how to gauge pricing. And you definitely got to start doing more promos and stuff like that. So you definitely just want to tweak and reconfine your marketing strategy and how you market things.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And so what made this crash happen though? You had like know what happened? Like why is it now crashing? Like what was the situation? You know what I'm saying?
Pandemic. The pandemic, man. I mean, the pandemic changed the game because remember what happened with the pandemic is all these things changed around us as far as manufacturers making cars. They stopped making cars. So when they stopped making cars, they started selling used cars. Used cars price went up. Everything with the pandemic, a lot of things were online. So therefore, a lot of people are shopping online very heavily. Now, the past 6-7 months, everybody's going back to work. So the products that sold a lot online and a lot of entrepreneurs that started all their businesses and stuff like that is now changing. Now it's going back to what it used to be and a little bit more hybrid. So all those activities and changes now affect everything. You know what I mean? Like that's really what the point is.
That's crazy. Wow. So you're saying that some of this shit you might not feel it for like let's say a year or so or something like that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and it just depends on who you are and what you do.
Right.
Because everybody's gonna feel the effect at different times based on how they contributed to the market. You know, how much they have invested in the market. You get what I'm saying? So it all depends on who you are and what you do. To what it will determine when you're gonna feel the effects from it. But at some point is everybody's gonna feel it. Everybody's gonna feel it. You know, and usually recession happens, I want to say every 10 years. Every decade there's a recession.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. So like pretty much we're due for one at this point. The last one was back in 2008. Right? Pretty much due for one.
Oh yeah, that
so
was
you could know like
first time in 2008. That should seem like it was yesterday.
No, it wasn't the first time, but it was the last one that happened.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like that shit seemed like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Right. You get what I'm saying? So and just keep that in mind. History always repeats itself. So just know that if we're having one within the next year or two, then you know 2030 something, early 2030s, we're gonna have another one.
Yeah. And then to everybody, shout out to everybody in the chat, Onyx. You know what I mean? Some good points coming across here. Like with Biden changing the $1 trillion debt thing. I think the main thing with all the comments, like the one person said, oh, eggs went from $7 to $18 where he's at. The main thing I think needs to be taken away is just because you're in the world, 2K Lee's point, yeah, you're not going to feel it for a year, but that doesn't mean it's not happening for a year. It's just that you're not paying attention for the year. That's really what it is. People don't pay attention to nothing, to be honest with you. It's happening before you. You know, the most relevant one is the gas. People just pay attention to news and whatever the news is hyping up. You know what I'm saying? So they hype up the gas. Somebody's like, oh, the gas price is up. But nah, the gas price been up. The grocery price has been up. Everything been going up, but you're not paying attention to it because you're just paying more money. When you go in a regular store to swipe your card for something, you didn't notice the tax went up 15 cents because your thing you bought came up to $25.62. But now next week it came up to $25.92. You wasn't paying attention because you wasn't paying attention to what's going on in the world. So the real thing is just really actually trying to pay attention to what's going on in the world. But the truth is, if you don't have a real budget, how will you ever pay attention to be aware of what's going on in the world? If you're just spending every day, you know, your pay don't go up. You know your pay don't go up. People pay attention to that, but we know your pay's not going up. It might go up once a year when you get a raise. So why are you paying attention to that versus everything else around it that actually goes up? So I think that's the main thing where, you know, you want to prepare yourself by just really paying attention.
Yeah, and so
like, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. You go ahead.
I was saying that, you know, people got to just pay attention to their investments. You know, don't like, you know, rethink risky investments. You know, things that's gonna, you know, hurt you in the long run. You know, if you don't have to spend, like Rashid was saying earlier, don't spend. There's certain things that are assets that will be good during the recession, during the crash. Like if you have like gold, right? Gold is a good asset. Silver is a good asset. Also, if you what else? Also, cash in hand, also, right? And accumulate as much cash as possible, right? These are different things that you can have that are still assets that's going to be still past the crash. Like after the crash is still going to be, you know, an asset at this point. So things like that you need for sure. You know, dividend stocks. You know, if you own a property, So these are all assets that you, if you're leasing a property, this is all good assets to have during the recession, during the crash.
Man, so basically, people gotta. So you're saying people gotta probably budget more because or redo their budgets at a certain point, because if they're paying attention to how much things are costing, or the cost of things, the cost is changing in certain things. So like if you was like, okay, I usually buy eggs and it's costing this much, I got to probably find where it costs less, buy it there, and then also rebudget my whole shit. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not paying attention. All of these other things can start coming up in cost, and then you don't realize it, and then you're basically spending more money. And then when it comes to the point where you realize that shit is getting even more like expensive, you're running out of money too, because that could also be a situation, right, where you're like running out of stuff. So do you think people need to start saving a little bit more at this point, or no, or just like kind of just rearrange the budget to make it to where they're in a different like situation?
All of the above.
Mm-hmm.
All of the above. Yep. Just because, like, for one thing about it like this, that's like somebody who likes to have a drink, right? Go to a bar, have a drink.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of you going to the bar, you might just want to go to your local liquor store and get a bottle.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like you still can do the things you need to do, but you just have to rearrange how you're doing them.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you go to the bar, you'll spend easy $50 to $100 at the bar, easy.
Right.
But you can go to the liquor store and buy a bottle for like $20, and you're good to go.
Right.
And that's gonna be not just for you, you and like 3 other people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You get what I'm saying? So it's just how you choose to do things moving forward. The ladies don't have to get the Gucci and the Fendi and the Prada bag. Michael Kors is all right. Michael Kors is just fine.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get a bag, instead of getting that 2022 Ferrari or that 2022 Toyota, it's all right. You can you get something a lot. You get a 2015, you'll be all right.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? You have to like downgrade. You have to downsize. There's no way around, just so you can even out with what's to come.
Right.
That's right. That's crazy. So when do you think that all of this shit, after all this shit goes down, like how like because I don't know how these recessions actually work. You know what I'm saying? Because I hardly be paying attention to that shit. I just be thinking either shit is expensive or I ain't got no money or something. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even pay attention to shit. So like when does it sort of go back to normal? You know what I'm saying? What do you think, or what's your prediction of like when it's gonna be going down and when it's gonna sort of like turn around? And then how do people like prepare for that type of shit?
I mean, I would say in my estimation, it's like a 5-year window. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it always take about roughly 5 years. So if you think about it, the recession started 2.5, 3 years ago. Now we're in that transition stage where we're going back to what it kind of was used to be, but revised. And they expect things to even out a little bit more next year, and in the following year where it's going to be like, all right, it's a lot better now. So it's about a 5-year window where it kind of bounces back out again. Then it starts to go back towards the other route on the back end. To Kenan's point, like we're everywhere around every 10 years or so or more, things start to change a little bit and you start to see the economy go down. But the main thing for individuals, just pay attention, man. Just pay attention to what's going on, because regardless of how many recessions, all that type of nonsense, it really doesn't affect you as an individual heavily unless you really pay attention. All it really just means is that you just notice you have less money. So if you make $55,000 a year and you ain't paying attention, and this is the recession and this was going on, instead of having an extra couple $100 to go on a little vacation or take one more trip, now you just realize, damn, I can't take the trip. Now you just realize, damn, I got my taxes back this year, but instead of being able to do something with it, I got to pay off back bills. And if you were paying attention, you'd realize you wouldn't be paying back bills because you've been budgeting for it. But instead, it only hits you like when you get a large sum of money and you realize like, oh, I got to pay off all this stuff. Versus if you've been paying attention the whole time long, you could have budget better, things of that nature.
You want to answer this question? Is from Monogamous Player?
It says, for my paycheck after bills and priorities paid, in your opinion, what ratio would y'all follow when it comes to savings versus enjoying life with your money? What's your question with that? What's your answer with that?
So that's a complicated question. I mean, honestly, as far as ratio itself, The truth is the first thing is just really finding out what after you pay off your, like you said, your bills and all that type of stuff, what you have left over. You really should always be saving, honestly, in my opinion, 30% of whatever you have if you can. You know what I mean? Because reality situations, you go to work every day, automatically Uncle Sam gets 20% for taxes. You know what I mean? Then on top of that, you got to pay for food. That's going to take another 15%, 20% out of your budget. And if you like most Americans, you're horrible on food, that might take 40% of your budget, which you're at 60%. Yeah, 60% right there. And honestly, other on average, 30% is going to go to your bills at minimum. So now you're down to 10%. And most people are in a negative, to be honest with you, that don't pay attention. So it's really about just knowing where you're at, though. But in a perfect world, you want to save 30% or more after everything is saved if you can do that.
I would say to a dollar amount, right? I'll put it into a more simplistic form. Let's say if you have $100, right? $50 should go towards your necessities, $30 should go towards your savings, and $20 should go towards like life, having fun and doing what you have to do. To bring it in a more simpler form, 50 towards your necessities, $30 towards your savings, and $20 towards going out and having fun.
That's what's up.
You said $20 to go out and have fun?
That's from $100 bill. So if you have 200, double those. You get what I'm saying?
Niggas, I'm gonna just stay in the house, man. Cause honestly,
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. What I was gonna say is that they're trying to make it to where you don't have to leave your home. You can do everything from the comfort of your own home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's why they even have Oculus, to where you can feel like you're doing something outside, like it's like you're in virtual reality.
Right.
Like you feel like you're there, to where you don't have to leave. So they're trying to make everything so convenient to where you don't have to even leave your house.
Right. No, that's real shit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's definitely true.
So this says, do y'all still think we are in a recession even after the recent spike in the what's that S&P 500? I don't know what the hell that is. I got that's
S&P 500. That's the net. S&P 500 is a like a collective index in the stock market.
Yes. Yep. You still in a recession?
Yeah. They had a little spike. Absolutely. They had a little spike, but that still don't mean shit. We're not back to where we were. We're far from where we were, bro. You understand? Yeah, we still 20% down from where we were. You feel me? So even though there was a little spike, that don't really mean nothing. But I want to say too is that what do y'all think about because I heard the other day about Russia and China coming together to start a currency that is based on the resources, like the gold resources in their countries, in their respective countries. What do y'all think about that? And how that might affect the economy, like the world economy, how that might affect America and shit like that.
I mean, it's a good idea. I mean, to base everything off resources, the reality of the situation is going to be heavily based on how they perform with that. You know what I mean? So
right.
Going through their growing pains with using that system, if everybody buys in, it will work. You know what I mean? And then eventually it will get to us and we will follow the same pattern. Because as we know, they say it all the time, the value of the dollar keeps getting less and less and less and less. And the reality of the situation is the resources that we have, we depend on a lot more and it's less available, but it's also more pricey. You know what I mean? Meaning, let's look at farms, for example. It's not too many real live animals and real live farms. You know what I mean? So when you get that real organic and actual cow meat, that's way more of a higher premium. But at the same time, we got all these cloned animals and all that type of stuff, and that's readily available. But the point is, though, like I said, that cow example is that it's a rare commodity, it's a real resource, and eventually it's going to be way more expensive and way more valuable at the end of the day. So it's definitely a good model.
You said McDonald's meal cost $17. Where you going at? Where they? I don't know. Is McDonald's getting that expensive? That's crazy.
Nah, you buying McDonald's at the airport or something like that, though. 17 is a bit much. I mean, 12.
No, that is 17. At a regular McDonald's.
Nothing
to do with no airport. That is at a regular McDonald's.
Yeah, fast food
That's the
costs more
price of
money
a
these
meal
days. I ain't
for-
gonna lie to you.
Fast food is no
17.
joke
That's
these days.
wow. That's wild. Yeah. All right.
He must be buying a Big Mac meal or something. So. That's crazy. Oh my goodness. He said he's spitting facts. He said it's really
and he probably did it. And he probably did it late night, because late night they don't have the dollar menu late night. You know what I'm saying? They don't be having a dollar menu late night. Let me see. I'm trying to look up the prices right now, but it's not showing me. I guess it depends on your city. But and that's another thing I wanted to say. What do y'all think about like moving to another city?
Oh yeah, man. That's
city.
big.
It depends what city, because there's certain cities, right? It makes sense to move to, yes, because the cost of living in that city is just slightly cheaper. So it depends on what city it is.
Right, and if you
really wouldn't go as far as cities, I would say states, man. Because if you generally speaking, it's states, because you know what I mean. Cities, right. Yeah, you can't go that detail, but states is a lot more different. You know, for example, we're in the tri-state area, but the cost of living in Jersey versus the cost of living in Pennsylvania is a whole different ball game.
Right.
For example, for real estate, like the average house in Jersey is about $400,000 or $500,000. The average house in Pennsylvania is $150,000. The average house in Connecticut, for the most part, is about $300,000. The average house in New York is about $550,000. So it's really more centered around the state. Then once you're in the state, then it comes down to the cities of where it gets more, better financially, depending on the city in that particular state.
That's crazy.
Damn, that's ridiculous, man. So for all the people out here who, let's say, for example, right, are unemployed, does this affect them getting jobs and all that other stuff? Does that even make is that like an issue now? Because if there's a recession, how does that affect somebody trying to either get a job if they're unemployed, or let's say they look thinking about, I want to get a new job. Should they stay with the job they are and just like wait it out? Like, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, like should you be trying to switch jobs now, or should you stay put?
I mean, for the average Joe, stay put.
Now go ahead. When do you go?
Oh, yeah, my bad. Now go ahead, Rashid. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I was just saying, for the average Joe, I say stay put. The reality of the situation is you can always job hop if you got the skill set, if you got the confidence, and you know what you're doing. But the average person, I'll be honest with you, doesn't necessarily have all the confidence in the world and worried about a lot of stuff, which is, X, Y, Z. So the average person stay put, especially if you've been there for a while, you got seniority. But if you're not the average person and you're comfortable negotiating, you're comfortable, your actual value, your actual worth, you know how to negotiate, you're fine. You can move around the way you want to move around. But for the average Joe, yeah, just stay put, because the last man on is always the first man fired in most cases when it comes to 9 to 5 jobs.
Yeah, I remember I got fired in a 2008 recession. I got, damn, and that was right after I left the job that I was with for years. You know what I'm saying?
So you went to a new job and they fired you quick, like right there, like that?
Yeah, they fired me after like 8 months.
Damn.
And it's crazy because they told me after the 4th month, like, listen, we're going to try to keep you on as long as we can. And then like at the 8th month, they was like, yeah, remember what we told you 4 months ago? And I was like, oh, yeah. And they got rid of my ass. And I had to fucking do Uber and Lyft for a year.
It was like this.
Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! Hey, Miles, you know why it's funny, but it's not funny. But just to really sum it all up, why that happens, if you think about it logically, every job, every year, and sometimes twice a year, has to recalculate how much they have to pay somebody way more to get them to come into the job. So naturally, if John was at the job for 15 years, but he started out making $10, but year 15, he's only making $20, but David just comes out of nowhere, he gets $26 off top. They're going to be like, let me cut David because I had to pay him more, and he know less. So that's why they actually,
he has less
that's why it's actually last man fired. Yeah, man. That's a game.
Exactly. Yep. That's fact. That's hella fucking facts right there. Yeah, that's pretty much.
It depends what industry you in.
Yeah.
What business is it? Because there are certain businesses and industries that are recession proof.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. Right? There's certain businesses that
Well, some industries that are recession proof have a lot to do with like vocational jobs, like, certain things like, plumbing, electronics, contracting, certain things where it's like you always necessary, like, for example, air conditioning technicians and shit like that. You understand what I'm saying? Like those like utility type jobs and city jobs and certain other things, those jobs ain't going nowhere because people still need to get around, garbage, utilities, all these different things still need to flow through a city. So you still necessary in a lot of situations where you couldn't. They'll probably like the salaries might not be as competitive, but you still find work. You see what I'm saying?
Right. It's the truth, man. Like you just said, a lot of trade jobs. People always gonna need
Trade
something.
jobs. Exactly.
Medical field, people always going to die. So you're always going to need doctors and nurses, and that's why there's all these medical assistants. You know what I mean? The insurance industry, people always going to need protection. Nobody don't got enough money to cover just in case something crazy happen, including companies. Everybody has insurance. So those three industry, trades, insurance, and medical, they always going to be hiring. They always going to need jobs. Somebody always going to die. You know what I mean? Somebody always going to need something fixed at all times. So
Facts, man. Yeah, man.
Man, that's a lot of shit to think about. With all this fucking this recession shit. So because it happens every like 10 years and shit, right? Would it be smart for a person just in general to be like, let me make sure that I'm starting now, so when the next thing come in the next 10 years or so, at least I got something popping. Because I know people that they'll save money just in general, but I think it's necessary for them to start now, or is there a specific time where people should start, like thinking about it? You understand what I'm saying? Like, what's the best time to like start saving or getting prepared for it? You know what I'm saying? Before it'll happen, or is it just like you just gotta like wait until you see it's coming around? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, my personal opinion, man, I think it just starts with a mentality thing. A lot of times, all that's irrelevant if you're always taking advantage of opportunities. Right. A lot of people take opportunities for granted. A lot of people's tomorrow, next time. That's fake. Let's be real here. As much as this recession, this pandemic hit people hard, it was so many opportunities to take advantage of. Jobs were paying almost 30-40% higher just to get people back in the door. But you have people that just stayed on unemployment. Why? Because like, unemployment's cool. I'm getting more money. I'm making more money. But you could have made way more money during this pandemic when it came to interest rates with houses, people buying property. The interest rates dropped down to 2%. So it was saving an average person $500-600 a month on a mortgage payment instead of trying to get a house. Be like, oh no, I'll wait till next year. I'll wait till. The main point is just stop passing up on opportunities and taking opportunities for granted. When they come across, take advantage of it. When it's a sale, get it on sale. You know what I mean? When gas is cheap, buy a couple gallons, put it in the garage. Anytime there's opportunity, take advantage of it and stop saying tomorrow, I'll do it next week, and it's just not right. That's like the infamous line, like, it's just not meant to be. No, you just didn't want to do it, using that dumb excuse to coast why you ain't doing something. So it's just really about just taking advantage of opportunities whenever they come across. And if you do that all the time, honestly, I'm not saying you always be ahead, but your head to be above water at all times if you're always taking advantage of opportunities when they come.
Right. Facts. Shit, man.
So he said, is it bad starting an e-commerce business now? That's the question. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, Art, because I ain't do the research on it, so I can't answer that one right now.
I'll say something.
It's not.
I believe
it's not a bad time to start it.
I believe that it depends on the e-commerce business, because if your product is 100% digital, it's never a bad time to start an e-commerce business. However, if you're selling a hard product, meaning that you have to manufacture or get distribution for the product, and then you have to ship it, and you got to package it, and you got to do a whole bunch of shit, then it might not be such a good time. Because if you're not selling units like that, then and you say you go out and spend all this money on packaging boxes and bubble wrap,
right?
And you spend a bunch of money on the fucking widget. Like, this is the product, right? You spend money on this shit, and you got a fucking warehouse or a garage full of them shits, and ain't nobody buying them. You asked out. You understand? But if it's an ebook or something like that, then it ain't never a bad time to start an e-commerce thing. Or if you have one of those businesses where people order t-shirts, but it's made to order, meaning that you only manufacture the t-shirt if somebody orders it, then you're good. You see what I'm saying? But if you got to buy a bunch of hard product and packaging and all that shit, then it might not be a good time.
Right. Yeah, definitely. E-commerce is, if it's digital, you know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of shit you gotta do as far as, if you was actually needing to ship and pack and do physical products, you know what I'm saying? So you can make that shit go down. So to wrap this up, what are your last words, guys, that you could say or think that people need to know about, this whole particular thing, as far as, for the market crashing? What do people need to do? Get prepared for any last words, any last things people need to know about?
For me, I would say start the whole saving process now. Don't wait. That's almost like saying, would you rather get rich in 5 years or 10 years? Right. Get rich in 5 years. Like, why would you want to wait? You get what I'm saying? Like, save your money like now. As a matter of fact, yesterday you should have been saving your money. That's like, there's no way around it, because the better prepared you are, the more well off you'll be, throughout this time of the market crash.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I would say just call RKT Appraisals. Stop thinking so hard. You're probably not going to figure it out. It's going to take you too long to figure out. Just give us a call, set up a consultation online, and then we'll do the thinking for you, and then explain the thinking, and then we'll all make it.
Right.
Facts. You go.
All right. So, people, we appreciate y'all tuning in, and we will holler at y'all later. And remember, the truth is inside you. Peace. We are gone out.